by Aurelio Mattucci.
Which one?
But he's not the one that made me think, this is the man, okay? This is the man. No, it's not. But this is part of the reason why I think he is the Republican of the year for our community in the South Bay, Torrance, Lomita. This is what he posted recently. I've come to the conclusion that all urban coyotes must be eradicated. They belong in the wild and the wild only. Hashtag evict coyotes. He stood behind that for quite some time. Another article that he reposted was a Daily Breeze on 12/5, and he gave his comment about the 3/4 cent sales tax increase to pay off the pension plans for the fire and police departments in Torrance. It's a little more complicated than that, but not much. He says no. Unfortunately, he got outvoted by the rest on the council. We have to say no. When do they ever hear no? When are they ever held accountable for not spending? Like Aurelio said in this article, we don't have a taxing problem, we have a spending problem. So that's why we're taxing. So if we don't spend, what happens? That means there's going to be some cutbacks. There might be some accountability for the waste. As we know, in any small business to large business, small government to large government, there's waste. And if you can curtail it by not just rubber stamping tax increases all the time, that's what we have to do. It's tough. It's tough. Sometimes it might hurt for a little while, it might hurt for a long while, but it has to be done. And Aurelio Mattucci is not afraid to take that stand. So we need individuals like him to do that. You know, he made another comment here in Facebook that really, I can't find it.
That's very good.
He made so many, but this was a couple of weeks ago. I was thinking about, and to make it to make it a little short on what occurred to me was, I've been thinking for quite a while, because I've been involved with my community in San Pedro to a degree, and with the thinking there about what it can be done about the vagrants, and what can be done about the drug addicts, and what needs to be done about the propositions that really made all this happen against us, and for them to abuse our society by openly doing drugs, by living on the streets, by committing crimes, small crimes to bigger crimes, by doing drugs on the street. All that is something Aurelio put in a succinct way and said it must stop. It must stop. And that means changing the laws to taking the people who are incapable of making a decision for themselves about doing drugs, about stealing, in order to exist on the streets, off the streets. Change the laws, stand up to the laws, and put them into incarceration to be treated for their drug problems. Now, I think many of us have had relatives and friends who have had alcoholism problems, drug problems, all that. I have. And it's heartbreaking. You want to get them help right away. The most inhumane thing you can do is leave them on the street. And when I read Aurelio Mattucci's, I think it was about 5 or 6 paragraphs long, about what he was standing for, I said, that's it. He's the first public elected figure to say this is the procedure in which we have to go and do to make our achievements for society better. So Aurelio Mattucci, thank you very much. Come on up here. Let's give him a big hand for standing up for what we believe in.
Yeah.
He does a lot more than what I just mentioned. He may be able to keep you here for 3 hours and telling you the short story of it. So Aurelio, this is your Republican of the Year. Torrance Lomita Republican Assembly honors Aurelio Mattucci as Republican of the Year.
You spelled it right.
Oh, of course, I put double in everything.
Yeah, oh my God, that's awesome. Well, you know, what I had said on Tuesday night was that we don't have a revenue problem, we have a spending problem, and I think that rings true pretty much in every government, all across the board, in every city, every country in the world. But it's the countries like the United States of America that put a lot of power into its people. And that's where it's important. You know, I wouldn't have been elected if it wasn't for people like Scott and Claude and everybody else in this room that actually helped with the campaign, walking, door knocking, making phone calls, donations. Just every little bit helps. And you know, when we say, you know, well, look, Republican of the Year, we are all Republicans of the Year. All of us. I mean, every just being here tonight proves that you are involved for the cause. Conservatism. It doesn't have to be exclusive to being Republican. Conservatism is really, it's an American thing. It's the foundation of our country. Yeah, the coyote.
Kind of heavy to hold on to that.
Yeah, no, the coyote thing. You know, it's funny.
Coyote.
It's funny because Scott and I, we often talk over Facebook, and people say, "Well, you know, you're an elected official. You shouldn't be so active on social media." Does it remind you of somebody?
Trump? Perhaps President Trump?
You know, I'll tell you this. Without social media, I'd probably go crazy because I really mean this. To me, it's a way of expressing my frustrations, right? And also, being on the city council gives me a platform. It gives me a place where I can actually be one of 7 votes to help change policy, to help change the direction of our city, hopefully of our whole community. Because you know, people do look at Torrance. What does Torrance do? They wait for Torrance to see what it does so they can bring, you know, policy, maybe copy policy, and therefore we are the South Bay leaders. You know, I'm not just saying it because we're here in Torrance and I'm part of Torrance, but yes, we do have a driving force. Now, where I don't see that we have a driving force is in Sacramento. You would think that being a city of 150,000, we're not quite the largest city in LA County, but we are the 3rd largest contributor to taxes to LA County. So you would think we'd have some kind of pull, maybe even a financial pull, whatever you want to call it, but we don't. The direction that I see is that the other day, on Tuesday night, I was the only no vote to new taxes. Now, the way it was sold to us behind closed doors is that, well, if we don't do it, the county will or the state will. And there's some truth to that. I mean, yeah, the county can come in, AQMD can come in, anybody, they can all come in and add a new tax. But where does it stop? Now, people say, well, it stops at 10.25 because that's the maximum allowed by state. Well, but who decides that? The state. So what do you think is going to happen? And mark my words on this, and I'm on video here, mark my words. The cap will be raised at the state level very soon. Because all these cities, you know how they all kind of work in unison? Redondo Beach, Hermosa, Manhattan, all these cities across the California are doing the same thing. Oh, we got to put this plumbing days, 3/4% tax or 0.5% tax on the ballot. We got to have it in March. Why? Because it's already decided in Sacramento that the cap is going to be raised. That's why. What? I mean, it's the writing's on the wall, guys. The writing's on the walls. We're going to keep on getting taxed to death. Now, I was the only no vote on Tuesday night, not because we don't have conservatives on the city council. It's because we don't have maybe conservatives that really understand what conservatism truly is. Conservatism is to fight even though you have everybody in that room against you. Okay? That's a true conservative. Somebody that can actually go sit in that seat and have everybody in that room against you and still vote your conscience, still vote your conservatism. When I said no new taxes, I meant no new taxes. Not, well, no new taxes unless the state allows us to. No, it's no new taxes. Because in March, we're going to be deciding whether we're going to have a three-quarter percent tax added. And yes, there are certain circumstances that might trigger it or not. Hey, bottom line, trust me, it's going to be triggered, and it's going to be above 10.25% probably within the next year. Next state session, trust me, somebody's going to come up and put that on the table. Hey, let's raise the cap because 10.25% is just not nearly enough. We hired consultants. We hired consultants. The city of Torrance hired consultants, and this is part of the reason why I voted no. We hired consultants to tell us how to write the item so that people can vote yes on it. That to me is disgusting.
Oh wow, I didn't know
It is
that.
disgusting.
Oh wow.
And when I said publicly that it's deceiving, that's the least of it. Yes, the way it was written, it's the local control, public safety measure, blah, blah, blah. Wait, public safety measure. Is that money going to be earmarked for public safety? The answer is no.
Pensions.
Where is it going to go? To the general fund. General fund is basically giving a kid a credit card with no limit. It's here. Go spend it on whatever you want, because that's really what truly happens. We don't have a revenue problem. We do have a spending problem. And we have a spending problem that's above and beyond what is being shown to the public. That's what's scary. If you actually look at item, I think 9B this week, and I know the gentleman here, he's on it. He's on it. And you know, maybe behind closed doors they might make fun of your orange hat or why you're always. But you know what? It takes local residents like that to really come. And when you come and speak to us, the public, we may not be listening, but everybody else is. The 7 votes up there may not be listening. I'm listening, but maybe the rest of them aren't. But the voters are. And that's when it becomes powerful, because you mention something, people at home are listening to it and say, let me look into that. Let me rethink this. When you run for office, when anybody runs for office, what's the first thing you put on your thing? Public safety, better streets and sidewalks, trees, whatever,
Fix the potholes.
Fix the potholes. But how many actually push for it once they're elected? Very few. Now, people say, wait, Aurelio, well, how many potholes have you fixed? No, it's not how many potholes I fixed, it's how many times I pushed them to fix those potholes. How many times have I pushed them to allocate more money towards fixing our streets and sidewalks? That's the question you should ask me, and that's almost every week.
Wow.
I have the emails, the conversations logged to show how many times I push our public works, our city manager, to start allocating more money towards what counts, what people drive on, what the trash, the illegal dumping, the weeds, the vagrants. These are the things that affect all of us every day. That's what we care about. Now, if you look at, there's some gym equipment on the agenda, 150,000, 100 and some odd thousand to put some gym equipment at a park. The very few of us are going to use. Sure as heck not me. But my point is, we're not prioritizing on what really truly counts. And being that we're millions of dollars in the hole, I think we need to hold off on spending 150,000 here, 200,000 there, $300,000 to fix to remodel the fountain in front of City Hall.
Oh my God.
Okay, that's what I'm fighting. I'm not fighting 6 other councilmen and the mayor. I'm fighting an ideology, and that's an invisible opponent. That's an invisible opponent, an ideology. So how do we change ideology? By voting those people out. That's how you do it. The same way certain people are trying to get me out, we got to get them out. And again, conservatism is not exclusive to being Republican. Conservatism is being American. Somebody that truly cares. And don't let anybody ever demonize your love for our country. Don't let them demonize having an American flag on your car. I mean, it's a joke to where I said online that I'm a patriot and I got attacked. It's like, what's wrong with being a patriot? I love our country. And I'm a foreigner. I was born in Italy. But I'm more American than most people you'll ever meet. I love this country. This is my country. Anyways, all I can say is don't give up on fighting, because I know we're outnumbered. Okay, we're outnumbered tremendously in certain areas. Okay, but we don't have to be outvoted. Okay, more people, if more conservatives come out and vote, we can win. We can win some seats, and especially the nonpartisan seats, the forgotten ones. I'm fortunate, I point at Johnny Morgan because he's leading us into the future for the Republican Party, and I ask of you to really start looking at these nonpartisan races. These nonpartisan seats is where we can have the foundation of conservatism from the ground up. Mm-hmm. This is not a trickle-down thing. Yeah, the president winning, but that's a temporary thing. That's 4 years, 8 years. Then what? Where we can truly make a change is on these nonpartisan seats. All the way, I'm talking even school boards. Why is it that schools have to be run by the left? Yes. Let's break it up a little bit. Bring some balance. I'm not saying take over. Bring some balance. Bring some balance. So, some opposing views. A little bit of conservatism can't hurt anybody. And trust me, when you stick to the issues, being Republican or Democrat doesn't really matter, because most people are more worried about the issues and what you're going to do about those issues than they are about what your party affiliation is. Trust me on that, because I would have never won. I would have never won if people had to, only vote Republican, because I'm outnumbered. In Torrance, we're outnumbered. There's more Democrats registered than Republicans, and I still managed to win. I kicked out an incumbent. Yeah. And I spent half as much as my opponents. Why? Because of people like you, walking, yes, calling, distributing flyers, whatever. You're probably the only Trump sign I've ever seen in South Redondo.
Well, our street is full of liberals.
It really is.
Yeah, but
it really is.
We have a handful of very conservative people that they like our sign and they like our bumper stickers.
Well, my family's one of them. They live about 4 or 5 houses away from me.
They had to go incognito with
they had to go
businesses.
I know. It's pretty. It is sad that we sometimes have to hide our feelings and such.
It's hard.
I'm known for being the quiet one.
That's all right.
Yes.
Are the Torrance voters, will they have that on the ballot to vote on?
Yes.
Okay, so we can get the word out to vote no.
Oh no to new taxes, and of course the way it's being sold.
I wanted to lower the taxes.
But you know what? 2 wrongs don't make a right. Just because the state's pushing for new taxes, why is it that I get it. If we are going to be taxed, I would prefer that it stays here. But how about we start with no taxes?
It'll screw up the businesses, retail businesses.
It's becoming.
People will go to other cities.
I remember when it was 5%. 5% in California. I remember that. It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, 1970.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can only imagine how much money is going to be spent on approving this tax. The money that's going to be put in the flyers that are going to go out.
Well, yeah, I mean, $30 million. $30 million is about.
So it's going to be hard to
15% of our general budget that's going to be added if it passes. So I mean,
I'm
it's
just saying the
a lot of money.
advertising we're going to get, the residents going to get.
Oh, you're not going to see it. You're not going to see any improvements because as much as that's wishful thinking.
Yeah, you're not going to see any difference.
The campaign.
Oh, no.
The campaign.
Well, the city can't push for it, but I'm sure they'll find a way to try to push it through. Just the way they hired a consultant to get the verbiage right. you know.
Claude?
It's
Yeah,
sad.
Aurelio, I want to share with you those immortal words of Senator Marigold. I don't know if Johnny remembers who that was. Senator Everett Dirksen from Illinois. His famous quote was, "A million here and a million there, before you know it, you have real money." That's what you need to remember. You know, 150 here, 750 there, it all adds up.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Well, oh yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Yes, Councilman, what are you guys doing about that treasurer that's kind of still in and won't get out? and
Oh, yeah.
that-
Yeah, we're kind of stuck just because, she's an elected official, so we really don't have much of anything to do with that, so, personally, yeah, I wish her well, and I wish she would come back and fight for her seat, fight for her pay, because, I think she's, you know, I've gotten to know her over the years, and, I just wish she would be coming back and fighting for something, you know? I don't know, quite honestly, I just don't know the whole story behind it. You probably, yeah. Yeah. I don't know, you know, I really don't know. I quite honestly, I just wish she would be back and fighting for that seat, you know? Yeah.
Okay,
I'm gonna end it with this, and,
thank you.
the deep state whispered in Trump's ear, "You're not gonna survive this storm." And Trump responded, "I am the storm."
Yes.
Thank you, really.